So, but on the lawfare thing, because this is important, we didn't get to this at all today. What is more likely, that Donald Trump went almost 80 years of his life never once having a criminal indictment because he's a guy who...
He was president. Things changed.
Well, I mean, all of a sudden, he's never committed a felony, and then
he becomes president, and the circumstances are the same.
No, they were going after things that were long before he was president. But okay, fine. If you don't like that argument, there's one other argument. They held all of these charges until the election. It is clear manipulation. All the indictments. I mean, until the election.
All of the charges, except
in a scathing exchange on Real Time, Buck Sexton laid bare what he sees as the Democrats' ultimate playbook, weaponizing the justice system to kneecap political enemies, with Trump as their main target. Sexton didn't mince words, accusing the establishment of timing Trump's indictments to align with the 2024 election season, a move he deems a blatant example of lawfare. Bill Maher, on the other hand, scoffed at the suggestion, framing it as a paranoia-fueled excuse to deflect from Trump's actual legal woes. But Sexton doubled down, questioning whether Americans could really trust a legal system seemingly manipulated for political ends. This clash brought to the surface a chilling debate. Has the justice system been hijacked by political forces? Or is this just another conspiracy theory to justify Trump's endless controversies? Let's analyze this interesting video.
He was president. Things changed.
Well, I mean, all of a sudden, he's never committed a felony, and then
he becomes president, and the circumstances are the same.
No, they were going after things that were long before he was president. But okay, fine. If you don't like that argument, there's one other argument. They held all of these charges until the election. It is clear manipulation. All the indictments. I mean, until the election.
All of the charges except the dressing room rape one.
Which they extended the statute of limitations. And then she was funded. The whole thing was a hit.
All the other ones have to do with he was in office.
Right.
He was the president. He asked for
the civil trial for Trump. I mean, there was the civil thing with the Trump Foundation. There are so many that it's hard to know what we're talking about.
The nature of the investigations dealt with factual allegations that surrounded his term in office and beyond. Yes, there is a reason he was never investigated for having interfered with the presidential election, because he wasn't running.
You also can't have it both ways, because when the House moves to impeach Trump on January 13th, the cry from the right is, where's the due process? Why are you moving so fast? What's the deal? But then when Merrick Garland chooses to take his time and be deliberate in bringing these indictments, Republicans are saying, oh, you're dragging your feet now to wait until it's election season. So which is it?
I hope you do sports betting or something, because the idea...
On one side, Sexton's argument touches on the risk of legal actions seeming politically timed, especially when they target high-profile figures during election seasons. If the public perceives the justice system as being used to impact elections or damage certain candidates, it could erode trust in the impartiality of the legal process. A system seen as too close to political interests can compromise its own legitimacy, leading people to question the fairness of any major legal proceeding involving political leaders. On the other side, Ma's stance on accountability points to an equally critical value. The idea that no one is above the law is fundamental in maintaining public trust in democratic institutions. If serious allegations against powerful individuals are ignored or delayed to avoid appearing biased, it could create a perception that political elites operate under different rules. This would be damaging in a different way, sending a message that certain figures are untouchable, which could deepen cynicism and disillusionment. It seems like Buck Sexton is being outplayed by the arguments that Bill Maher is making. Let's continue the video to see how Buck Sexton responds.
The idea that a number of these cases, all of these charges involve conduct that was all of them. There's all these 4 different criminal cases, at least 4 years ago. You're going to tell me that all this had to wait until the election year to bring the charges? You're going to tell me that Jack Smith, for those who don't know, was moving at lightning speed with the help of Judge Chutkan in D.C. They were moving, ask any federal prosecutor, ask anybody who has actually looked at how long. I'm just talking about timelines, by the way. The whole thing was meant to kneecap him before he could actually get to election day, and it was meant to destroy him for political reasons in an election year.
And yet it's only helped him.
It is the biggest own goal the Democrats have ever had in their lives.
Buck, let's ask a federal prosecutor. One's here. why this was delayed in part was not simply a matter of proactive or affirmative motions by the prosecution. There was a defense team in multiple different jurisdictions who were filing motions to then delay and ask for delays and delay after delay. If the calendar had been such that what the prosecution alone wanted, you would have had earlier resolution, at least in the form of trial, not necessarily a conviction, but he's filed motions to defend himself, and that has also delayed the calendar.
I don't know. Hold on.
In the midst of the four-person discussion, Buck Sexton seems to be at the center of everyone's criticism. Buck Sexton's arguments not only fail to defuse the situation, but instead make Laura Coates uncomfortable and ready to jump into the debate. Will Buck Sexton withstand this blow? This video is really interesting, so please like and subscribe to the channel to watch other videos that we bring.
There are 4 different criminal proceedings against Donald Trump, okay? 4 of them.
Yeah.
And
he has defended himself.
there's New York, there's D.C., there's Atlanta, there's Florida. Florida's been tossed out, by the way, so that's what a great trial. That's what a great case that was. These were all
a real Trumper of a judge.
But you can't have it both ways. I mean, Judge Chutkan clearly hates Trump and was sending January 6th, some of them nonviolent detainees, into the prison system for like 18 months.
Can I ask you a more philosophical question?
Sure.
Because there are people who are watching this who, I know people, because I live in Los Angeles and Hollywood and all that, and they will say, why are you even talking to him? And I have no patience for people like this. They can kiss my ass. I will talk to you all day. First of all, half the country agrees with you. Are they all going to self-deport if one of the
No, and honestly, could I first of all, thank you for that. And I just would add to it, like, the people who are saying that he's Hitler and the country's going to end, it's not true. It's going to be okay. He's already been president. If he becomes president again, you'll probably have a Democrat who comes around in 4 years. It's not the end of the republic. Let's start placing bets.
It could.
You want to start? You know what I mean?
It could
play some money on this one. I know you got a bankroll, buddy. You know we can start. You know what I mean? I hear stories.
I do. That's my Mets. Okay. No, well, first of all, he could. Absolutely. He's too erratic. There's just no way you can say he's not going to do this or not going to do that. But
he's not going to destroy the country.
He's
going to do a great job, actually, but you don't agree with me on that.
What's your definition of destroying the country? Is sabotaging the peaceful transition of power the hallmark of American democracy? Is sabotaging that not in service of destroying the country? I mean, how else would you just...
Buck Sexton argues that the protests and unrest associated with the Black Lives Matter movement in the summer leading up to the election may have put pressure on the electoral process, leaving some voters feeling influenced or threatened. In Sexton's view, these events created a context of tension and deep division that could have affected voter sentiment and, in turn, the outcome of the election. However, Laura Coates rejects this argument, arguing that events such as protests are not factors that can affect the integrity of the election. Coates emphasized that despite the social upheavals and emotions surrounding political events, the electoral process itself needs to be protected as an objective instrument unaffected by external social circumstances. This divide reflects a broader debate about whether major social events can undermine confidence in the electoral process, and whether political or social dynamics should be considered factors that affect the integrity of an election. In this context, the question arises, how can we protect democracy from the effects of external events while still keeping the electoral process fair and transparent? Thanks for watching.